See, Nigerians, there's something about us that I honestly don't get. The truth is, we are all passing through a very challenging phase now for us as a nation, as a country. The cash crunch, the cash scarcity, and all of that. It's affecting every one of us. Like, personally, I'm affected. Someone jokingly said now the government has leveled all of us, both those who had money, now they do not have the money, and those of us who didn't even have, now we do not have. So we are all on the same playing ground. And I think that basically sums up everything that all of us are passing through now. So it's not an experience that is particular to a particular group of Nigerians. We are all in it, okay? We are in it together. I feel the pain. My family members feel the pain, like we all feel the crunch. But what I don't get really is the rationale or the justification behind this chaotic behavior that we are all displaying now, like going to vandalize banks, burn down banks, vandalize ATMs and set them ablaze, blocking roads, burning tires all over the place, just causing chaos, mayhem, and all of those barbaric behaviors all over the place. It doesn't really even make sense. Like, what's the justification? Like, why do you have to do that? How does that change anything? No, really, answer me. How does that change anything? I'm not saying we, because I'm not among those of you who have been setting banks and ATMs ablaze ever since this whole Naira crunch thing started. What have you achieved? Has that changed anything? Has that put cash in your hands? I know that we all need cash, to go about our daily lives, buy food, pay for medical expenses, and so many other things that we need to do with money. It's biting every one of us, but resorting to violence does not change anything. It hasn't altered anything ever since this policy was rolled out. And the president addressed us the other day and directed the commercial banks to pay their customers in the old 200 naira note, alongside with the old one, from 200 naira, 100 naira, 50 naira, 20 naira, 10 naira, 5 naira, all those denominations downwards. So by that, only the 500 naira and the 1000 naira denominations, the old ones, are no longer legal tender. So we have to understand that this is what the government has said to do. We cannot change anything as it stands now. And as we speak, the president is out of the country. He is in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, for the 26th General Assembly of heads of governments, head of states, and all at the African Union. So there is nothing you can do. I know that there's a whole lot of, power tussle going on here and there with government, but I mean, like I said, I don't want to talk politics. It's our attitude really that I'm concerned about, and that has triggered me to, talk about it again. I had made a video previously just talking about the Naira redesign and all of the chaos that ensued ever since. And then now we are having escalation of chaos and vandalization, wanton destruction of commercial properties and institutions all over the country, and that just doesn't make sense, okay? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't change anything. This is a time that we have to, galvanize support to the government, and if possible, take civil actions that would help the government understand our plight and take actions that would speed up or alleviate the sufferings that we are all passing through now. Not this unnecessary burning down of financial institutions everywhere in the country, demonstrations, killing. Some people have actually lost their lives, and that means some families have lost their loved ones. On top of waiting, money. Abba. There are some times that I really wonder if we are ready for this change. And for the past few days, I've been thinking, and I've come to the conclusion that really we are not ready for change. And I don't think we want change, because really this is what change looks like. If we've been crying that, oh, corruption here and there, people are stashing up money in their houses, there is no money and all of that. Now the government rolls out a policy based on the issues they've identified in the economy that are responsible for insecurity, for kidnapping, for corruption, and for all of those vices that we've complained about. It's only fair that we exercise some patience and give it time to see how it eventually turns out. This is what change looks like, if you ask me, guys, because change does not always look smooth. It does not always look easy. Personally, I'm one that is always hesitant towards change. When there's a new innovation, for instance, in technology, I'm usually hesitant towards adopting it. I want to wait and observe and hear feedback from people and how the product or the service or the innovation pans out before I adopt it. So that is what we have to do. Let's give it time, experiment, and see how this policy makes things better. If it doesn't, then we have the right to protest it, we have the right to reject it and demand that the government should do better. But for now, let's exercise patience. Let's see how this is going to pan out. I know, like I've said, I'm feeling it too. As I speak to you now, I don't have any cash on me. If I have to go out now, honestly, I don't know how I'm going to pay my transport fare. It's not like I do not have the money, like many other Nigerians who have the money in their bank account but can't afford to withdraw like cash on hand. And when you go to the market, some people say, oh, we will not take transfer. Some people say, I do not have POS. I know all of those excuses. But some people, even in the marketplaces now, some of these market women are accepting to take transfer. I understand and I agree that there are some market women who are not tech savvy and do not know how to navigate their way around this whole cashless policy and transacting business in this kind of cashless environment. Now it is something that we're all going to eventually get a hang of, but for now let's exercise patience, because this is how change actually happens. And you see, the elections are approaching. Just in a few days or a few weeks from now, we are going to head to the polls to vote for the next president, the next governors, the next senators, House of Reps, all of these political leaders that we have to vote into power. And if we're expecting to see change, if we're expecting to see things done differently in the next administration, in the next dispensation, I bet you guys, things are not going to happen overnight. Change is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a process where we need to make sacrifices as a nation. We have to make some compromises as a nation in order to get to that desired destination, that desired change that we want to see. And this might be one of it. So we need to exercise patience. We need to understand where the government is coming from. This policy is not designed to harm us as we are making it to seem.
We're serving Nigerians. As far as I'm concerned, the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation has spoken on this matter, and the President has sealed the whole of the issues this morning in his broadcast. And I think I can only just appeal to Nigerians, let's allow this policy to work. This policy is one policy that goes to solve the problem of reducing corruption and illicit financial flows. This policy goes to resolve some of the problems in the economy. This problem also goes to reducing the level of insecurity in the country. So these three issues, which are the tripod of this administration's policy, are all embedded in this policy. We should just allow it to work. We keep saying this. There are some temporary pains, but I can assure Nigerians that the long-run benefit to Nigeria is overwhelming, and we should just give it a chance to work.
It's going to be for the best of the nation, in our best national interest. So why don't we exercise patience? Honestly, because now the banks are threatening to shut down operations all across the country. Now tell me, if the banks shut down operations across the country, won't that compound our situation? Because at least now, because they still provide some skeletal services, you can walk in there and do interbank transfers. You can go there. Some banks are actually loading their ATMs to dispense cash, albeit small. If the bank shut down completely, we are not even going to be able to access any of those services. So won't that compound the whole situation? Because these unnecessary attacks on the banks, one thing you need to understand is the banks, these commercial banks, are subject to regulations and guidelines, directives from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
President has given his directives. I have met with about 15 banks this morning later, and we've given them directives about how they should make all the old 200 naira notes available.
So they operate based on the guidelines and the directives that the Central Bank of Nigeria issued to them. So if the Central Bank tells the commercial banks not to pay their customers, say in 1,000 naira, 500 naira, 200 naira, then these commercial banks are bound to obey the directives from the federal government through the Central Bank, because they are operating under the laws of the country. That's one thing we need to understand. Going to their banks to set them ablaze won't change anything. If you go to the bank and they tell you they are not paying you or they are not receiving deposits, then that means they are operating based on the instruction or the directives that they received from the central bank. So let's exercise patience. This is how change might look. I'm afraid even if we eventually succeed in voting in the change that we want to see, as we have all been excited about and are anticipating that change is coming, it might take this sort of form, some inconveniences leading us to make some compromises. And I'm afraid some Nigerians might not understand that. They will lose hope in no time and turn against the government and, start destroying things, start killing and all of that. Let's learn to be patient, Nigerians. Violence is not always the answer. That has proven true over and over again in this country. Violence is not always the answer. Sometimes let's embrace dialogue. Sometimes let's embrace patience. I know. I'm in this country. I feel it too. But let's exercise patience. The way we are going around this whole naira scarcity, cash crunch is not going to solve anything. Because you just wake up every day and hear there's protests going on in this part of the country, there's protests going on in this state, protests going on, just making everywhere unsafe. Because you might just wake up to go about your daily life, your daily business, and inadvertently run into a protest going on somewhere. And who knows what might become of the outcome, because some people leave their houses and then they find themselves in the midst of those protests. And a lot of us know sometimes what the outcomes are. Some left their houses. In Benin, for instance, I heard from the news that about 1 or 2 persons lost their lives on the day that some protesters went to protest at the central bank in Benin. That's so unfortunate. On top of money, this money will come and go. It will come and go. Life is more important. That's one thing we need to understand. It is our money. We know. Even me, I'm feeling it. Like I'm saying this over and over because someone might be tempted to write in the comment section that maybe I'm not feeling it. There's nobody in this country that is not feeling it. Even the high and mighty are feeling it. That's why they are also talking about it like this. And let me tell you something. They are not talking about it necessarily because they have our interest at heart. It's because they are being affected as well. Let's exercise patience. With time, we are going to see the long-term benefit of this policy. So I strongly believe, at least for once, I strongly believe in a policy. Just patience, a little patience, a little patience. In the coming weeks or month or so, this whole thing will be a thing of the past, and then we'll have access to funds again. But one thing we need to understand is the CBN has already placed restrictions or limitations on how much individuals can withdraw, how much corporate organizations can withdraw. So even if the cash crunch phase passes, it is now a given that they are not going back on some of the directives that they've issued in the policy. So we just have to learn to live with it moving forward, because Nigeria is moving towards a cashless economy where there'll be little money in circulation and more of it, domiciled in the banks and, on the e-transaction platforms and all of that. That is what is going to happen. So we just need to brace ourselves to embrace this change and move on. Fighting, protesting, burning banks, destroying commercial institutions, financial institutions and all of that is not going to change anything. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, because it's just too much. Like, seeing all of these things is too much. And let me also use this opportunity to like issue you just some travel advisory. If you are planning to visit Nigeria around this period, then I would say maybe you should reconsider. This might not be the best time for you to visit Nigeria because a lot is going on. I'm not saying the country is not safe, no, I'm not saying that, but in terms of, you know, cash, you might get stranded if you come into the country now, and even it would impact your movement negatively. You might not be able to move around the country seamlessly because one, you'll be constrained on cash, and then the pockets of protest that just break out every now and there, here and there on a daily basis. We just wake up and hear that, oh, protest is going on in this state, in this area, protest is going on in this state, in this area, and all of that, you know. So you don't want to be caught in the midst of all of this chaos and drama going all over. I'm sure that everyone, when you travel, you want to have the best of experience, and I'm not sure this is the kind of best of experience you might want to have visiting Nigeria. So I would advise that you hold on and wait until the whole election phase passes. Election is this month, February, and then March as well. So you might just want to hold on until like April. Yeah, April will be the best time. April, May would be the best time for you to visit Nigeria if you are planning to come. Okay. Yeah, that said, I hope you know the information is useful to you and helps you to plan better your visit to Nigeria. That said, back to us Nigerians. The question is, are we really ready for change? Are we really ready for change? Because if you ask me that question, and if I'm to give you the honest answer, I don't think we are ready. No, we are not ready for change, because any little thing that just, you know, alters the status quo that we are used to, we just break out in chaos, in violence, in, you know, let's scatter everywhere. These people, they whine us, they whine us, we go break everything. Sometimes let's sit back and reflect. Why are they doing this? How is this going to impact us as a nation? Is it going to be positive? Is it going to be negative? What do you people think? How best can we, you know, react to this? Instead of every time just waking up, oh, we are going to kill, let's go and burn that place, let's go and block that place, let's go and burn tire, and then the government releases the security agents on everyone, and then everything just descends into chaos, sometimes end to loss of lives, loss of properties. It doesn't make sense. Nigeria, see, I want our country to be the best, like to be a place where we are all proud of, where everybody wants to come to, and this is not how we are going to achieve that. Honestly, sometimes let's calm down. Let's learn how to calm down small. Even if it's paining us, it's not shouting violence that will solve it. So again, are we ready for change? Let's sit down and reflect on this question, even as we go to the polls and we vote for the change that we want to see. Let's have it in mind that change does not happen overnight. Sometimes it might take days, weeks, months, a year, years, and all of that. So let's have that in mind, even as we vote for change, that sometimes the change might not happen overnight as we want it to see. We need to be patient. Okay? Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you're not a Nigerian, again, sorry for bothering you with our Nigerian problem, but yeah, we are all Africans, so we need to share each other's burden. My name is Virtue Grace. I live in Lagos, Nigeria. I make travel, lifestyle content, and sometimes I talk about important issues like this, just sitting on my couch here. Yeah, so have you subscribed? If you've not subscribed, kindly click on that subscribe button, okay? Tap on the bell and select, or that way you'll be the first to always know when I post a new video. And if you're returning, thank you so much for your red love. So coming, give this video a thumb up, share it, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, stay safe, healthy, below abiding. Virtue Grace, the African storyteller. Bye. Mwah.